Apollo 11, this is Houston. Do you read over?
Roger, Houston, Apollo 11. Yeah, Houston, Apollo 11, that Saturn gave us a magnificent ride.
Roger, 11, we'll pass that on, and it certainly looks like you're well on your way now.
Now, the main focus of the space race, as President Kennedy challenged the American people with, was putting man safely on the moon and bringing him back home alive, safe and sound. And this was realized during the Apollo space program. Now, the Apollo space program followed on the heels of Mercury and Gemini. It spanned the years of 1966 to 1972.
In short, it was the most intricate and sophisticated machine ever made by man.
It was originally slated for 20 missions, but it was canceled after 17. But let's back up to the very first Apollo 1 mission. This was the very first fatality of the space program. During an unfortunate circumstance during a training run preparing for launch, the entire crew of Apollo 1 was incinerated inside the sealed space capsule. At this time, NASA was using a 100% oxygen mix, which is highly flammable, and a basic spark that came from behind one of the control panels literally turned Apollo 1 into an oven. There was no guilt to be put on anybody in NASA or any of the contractors. However, two major advancements in the space program came out of that. One, they quit using a 100% oxygen mix to establish the atmosphere within the spacecraft. And two, they had an emergency escape handle on the inside of the space capsule. There on the port door, the astronauts would then be able to exit in case of an emergency, which was not present for the Apollo 1 crew. Now, all the Apollo missions leading up to the next major mission, Apollo 11, were in preparation for the moon landing.
At 6:32 a.m., 3 hours before launch, on pad 39A, Armstrong and Aldrin walked on the surface of the Earth. Their next steps would be on the moon.
It's in 1969, July of that year, that the three now immortal or famous astronauts of Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins lifted off and went to the moon.
2, 1, 0, all engine running. Liftoff, we have a liftoff, 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
It could honestly be said that this was the culmination of the dreams and fantasies of men and women over 25 centuries of recorded time.
Now, Collins stayed in the command module orbiting the moon while Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong actually descended to the lunar surface. And as we all know now, Armstrong was the first human to set foot on the moon.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. This is Apollo Control Houston at 105.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Now, while he was an American, the huge push and focus was this was an act for all humanity, and this was a peaceful act. The United States was not going to the moon to conquer and claim the moon, but to explore it, to understand it. Apollo served an important function of not just an exploration of the moon, but setting the stage for Skylab, which came afterwards as a joint mission between the United States and the Soviet Union, but the shuttle program, which began in the 1980s and ran all the way through the 2000s and into our current space program, the International Space Station, which is a joint mission between numerous countries of the world. Keep in mind, all of this was made possible with the Mercury 7 astronauts. So it's the space race which in some ways helped define the Cold War, not only as a struggle between democracy and communism, a competition between the United States and the Soviet Union, but also a challenge to ourselves as Americans to advance technologically and scientifically, the benefits of which we continue to enjoy today.